Welcome to Night Signal Files, recovered transmissions, lost recordings, and stories that were never meant to be heard.
Hello, my name's Eric. I'm 30 years old, and I'm calling from Michigan. I work as a mechanic at a small auto shop just outside town. I've been there since I was about 20, and most of my life has been pretty normal. Work during the day, dinner with my parents sometimes, weekends fixing old trucks or watching football. I'm calling because something has been happening with the landline phone in my parents' house. And I know how this is going to sound, but for the past few weeks, my dead brother has been calling us. The reason I'm finally reaching out tonight is because of what he said the last time the phone rang. Because according to the voicemail I saved, my brother doesn't think he's buried where we put him. And after what happened yesterday at the cemetery, I'm starting to think he might be right. My brother's name was Jason. He was 2 years older than me, and if you'd ever met him, you'd probably remember him as the loud one between us. Jason talked to everyone. Strangers, customers at the shop, people at gas stations. He had this way of making conversations happen. We actually worked together at the same garage for a while. It was a small place called Parker's Auto Repair. 2 lifts, an office that smelled like burnt coffee, and a gravel parking lot full of half-working trucks. Jason loved that job. He could take apart an engine faster than anyone I knew. If someone brought in a car making a weird sound, he could usually tell what was wrong before the hood was even open. People trusted him, and he trusted the road. That's the thing about Jason. He loved driving at night. Said the roads were quieter, the air felt different after midnight. Sometimes he'd take the long way home just to keep driving. 2 years ago, that habit killed him. It was late November, cold enough that the wind felt sharp when you stepped outside. Jason had been visiting a friend across town. Nothing unusual about it. Around midnight, he started driving home. The police report said his truck left the road somewhere along County Route 6. There's a stretch out there where the trees grow thick and the road curves downhill. Apparently, he lost control. The truck smashed through a guardrail and disappeared down into a wooded ravine. Nobody saw it happen. The truck wasn't found until the next morning when a passing driver noticed the broken rail. By the time the police reached the wreck, Jason was already gone. I remember standing in the hospital hallway with my parents while a doctor explained it. Impact trauma. Instant. They use calm voices when they say those things, like softer words will make it easier to hear, but nothing really helps. The funeral happened a week later. Half the town showed up. Jason had that kind of personality, the kind that left people with stories to tell. The cemetery where we buried him sits outside town near an old line of oak trees. Our grandparents are buried there too. It felt like the right place. For 2 years, life moved forward the way it always does. I kept working at the shop, my parents stayed in the house we grew up in, and every year around the anniversary of the accident, we'd go visit Jason's grave, bring flowers, stand quietly for a few minutes, then go home. But something changed 3 weeks ago. And it started with the landline phone. My parents never got rid of it. It's one of those old wall-mounted phones in the kitchen. Most days it just sits there. Nobody calls it anymore. Everyone uses cell phones now. So when it rang one night during dinner, it immediately felt strange. My mom answered it. "Hello?" She listened for a moment, then frowned and hung up. "Probably a robocall," she said. 10 minutes later, the phone rang again. This time, my dad answered. Same thing. Silence. He hung up and shrugged. At the time, none of us thought much of it. But the next night, it happened again. And that's when things started to feel wrong. My mom answered the phone, and instead of silence, she heard breathing. Not talking, just breathing. Slow, heavy, like someone was holding the receiver close to their mouth. She kept saying hello, but the breathing didn't stop. Eventually, she hung up, but before she did, she glanced at the caller ID, and that's when she froze, because the name on the screen said Jason Carter, my brother. At first, we assumed it was some kind of technical glitch. Maybe the phone company had messed something up. Maybe someone had recycled an old number. But the truth was, Jason had never even used that number. The landline belonged to the house. Still, we tried to ignore it, but the calls kept coming. Every few nights, always after dark, always the same pattern. The phone rings, someone answers, breathing, nothing else. Then the call ends.
The caller ID always showed Jason's name. After about a week of this, I started answering the calls myself. Part of me wanted to prove it was some kind of prank. The first time I picked up, I said hello 3 times. All I heard was breathing. Wet, uneven breathing, like someone who had been running or crying. I felt this strange chill crawl up my spine, and without thinking, I looked at the caller ID. Jason's name was glowing on the screen. I hung up immediately. We contacted the phone company the next day. They ran a check on incoming calls. According to them, there were no calls being made to that number during those times, which meant either their system was wrong or the phone was ringing without an actual caller. A few nights passed without anything happening. Then last Tuesday, the phone rang again. It was just after midnight. Everyone else was asleep. I was staying over because my dad and I planned to fix the garage roof the next morning. So I walked into the kitchen and answered the phone. Hello? The breathing started immediately. But this time, there was something else in the background. A faint sound, like wind moving through something hollow. I didn't hang up. I just listened. 30 seconds passed. Then, the voice spoke. It sounded dry, strained, like someone forcing air through a throat that wasn't used to talking. But I recognized it instantly. It was Jason. He said one sentence. "You shouldn't have buried me there." Then the line went dead. I stood in the kitchen for a long time after that. The clock above the fridge ticked loudly in the silence. My hands were shaking because the voicemail system had recorded the call. And when I played it back, the voice was there. Jason's voice. "You shouldn't have buried me there." The next morning, I told my parents. My mom started crying almost immediately, but my dad reacted differently. He went quiet, really quiet. Then he said something strange. He asked if I remembered exactly where Jason's truck had been found. I said of course, but my dad shook his head slowly. Apparently, the accident scene had been more complicated than we realized. The truck hadn't just crashed into a tree, it had fallen nearly 40 feet down into a ravine. And when the wreckage was recovered, identification had taken time. Dental records, paperwork, the kind of things families don't really question when they're grieving. But now my dad wasn't so sure everything went the way we thought. 2 days ago, we went to the cemetery, just the 3 of us. The sky was gray, and the wind moved through the trees in slow, quiet waves. Jason's grave looked the same as always. Stone marker, fresh grass, but something about the ground felt different. My dad stood there staring at the headstone for a long time.
Then he told us something he hadn't mentioned before. A month earlier, he'd received a letter from the county records office. Apparently, during a routine audit, they'd discovered a mistake in one of the burial documents from 2 years ago. The plot number assigned to Jason mismatched the cemetery map. At the time, my dad assumed it was just paperwork. But now it felt like something worse. My mom knelt beside the grave and touched the soil. Then she noticed something strange. The ground looked uneven, not freshly dug, but slightly sunken, like something underneath had shifted. We left the cemetery shortly after that. None of us wanted to stay. But that night, the phone rang again. I answered it. The breathing was louder this time, and Jason's voice came back. 3 words, "I'm still here." Then the call ended. Later, when I played back the voicemail recording, I noticed something I hadn't heard before. Behind Jason's voice, there was another sound, a low scraping noise, slow, rhythmic, like dirt being pushed aside. Yesterday morning, my dad called the cemetery office. He explained the paperwork mistake. At first, they didn't want to disturb the grave, but eventually they agreed to check the records and inspect the site. So today, we went back. 2 workers were already there when we arrived. They had shovels and a small digging machine. I remember the sound of the engine starting, the way the metal bucket bit into the soil. Each scoop lifted dark earth into the growing pile beside the grave. Nobody spoke much. My mom held my arm the whole time. After about 20 minutes, the machine hit something solid, the top of the coffin. The workers cleared the remaining dirt by hand. Then one of them pried the lid open. I'll never forget the look on his face. He stepped backwards slowly, like he had just seen something he couldn't explain, because the coffin was empty. No body, no clothing, nothing. Just a thin layer of dark soil at the bottom, and one deep scratch carved into the inside of the lid. 4 words, "You buried the wrong one."
Hello, my name's Daniel. I'm 45 years old and I'm calling from New York. I've been a subway train operator for more than 20 years. I'm calling because there's something happening on my route that I can't explain, and I don't think anyone else would believe me if I told them. For the past few years, I keep seeing the same woman standing on subway platforms right before my train arrives. The problem is, she already died in front of my train once, and the last time I saw her, she told me, "I'm next." I've been driving subway trains in New York for 21 years. You learn things in that job most people never think about. You learn the sounds a train makes when it's healthy, the way the rails hum differently in winter, how the tunnels breathe warm air in the summer like the city itself has lungs. And you learn something else. You learn that eventually, someone ends up on the tracks. Every operator knows it. They don't tell you during training, but the older drivers will say it quietly when you're on break. Not if, when. When someone jumps, when someone slips, when someone decides the train coming toward them is the end of something. The rule they teach us is simple. If you see someone on the tracks, you hit the brake immediately. But here's the truth they don't put in the manuals. A subway train could weigh hundreds of tons. At full speed, you're not stopping in time. I had gone almost 10 years without seeing it happen. 10 years of late shifts, weekend shifts, holiday runs. I drove the night routes mostly. Less crowded, less chaos. Just tunnels, stations, and the long stretch of track between them. Then one night in November, it happened. I remember the exact time, 1:42 in the morning. I was pulling into a station in Lower Manhattan.
The platform wasn't crowded, maybe a dozen people scattered along the edge, just regular late-night commuters. Then, I saw her. She stepped forward right as the train rounded the curve. She wasn't pushed, she didn't trip. She stepped forward deliberately, like someone walking into a room. I slammed the emergency brake. There's a sound a train makes when the brakes lock, metal screaming against metal. But I already knew. There was no stopping. The impact wasn't loud like people imagine. It was dull, heavy. And then the train finally ground to a stop halfway down the platform. The tunnel went quiet. Nobody moved for a few seconds. People were frozen. You could hear someone crying on the platform. I sat there in the cab staring forward, because operators aren't supposed to leave the train after something like that. You wait for the transit police, but I already knew what was down there. I had seen her face for half a second before the train hit. She had dark hair, a pale coat, and the strangest expression I've ever seen. Not fear, not panic, just calm, like she had already made peace with it. The police eventually came. They did their report, asked the usual questions. Did she jump? Did you sound the horn? Did you apply the emergency brake? Yes, yes, yes. They pulled her out from under the first car. I didn't watch. Most operators don't. You learn to stare straight ahead. They shut the line down for about an hour. Then another train came to take over the route, and they sent me home early. That's the part people never understand. The trains don't stop forever. The city keeps moving, even after something like that. For a few weeks, I had trouble sleeping. That's normal. You keep replaying it in your head, that moment when you see someone step forward, the second where you realize what's about to happen. But eventually it fades. The job forces you to move on. Years passed. 5 years, maybe 6. I had almost forgotten her face. Then one night, I saw her again. It was another late shift, different station, different part of the city. But the moment the train entered the platform, I saw a woman standing right at the edge. Pale coat, dark hair. Something about her posture made my stomach twist because I recognized it instantly. The way she leaned slightly forward, the way her arms hung at her sides, exactly the same as that night years ago. I felt this cold rush go through me, like my body knew something my brain hadn't caught up with yet. Then the train headlights hit her face, and I saw it. It was her. Same woman, same face. She stepped forward. I slammed the brakes again, and again the train didn't stop in time. The impact came.
The same heavy sound, passengers screaming on the platform, and then silence. When the train stopped, I just sat there, gripping the controls, because something was wrong, very wrong. This couldn't be happening again. The police came. They pulled the body out, and I heard one of them say something that made my stomach drop. Another jumper. Another. Like it was normal, like it was just a different person. But I knew it wasn't. I had seen her face clearly. It was the same woman from years ago. When I told the officer that, he just shook his head. "Sir, this isn't the same person." He showed me the report. Different name, different age, different everything. But I knew what I saw. The same coat, the same face, the same calm expression. After that night, something started happening. Every few months, I would see her again, always on a different platform, always standing right at the edge, and always wearing that pale coat. At first, I thought I was imagining it. Maybe the job was getting to me. Maybe my brain was replaying old trauma. But then it happened again and again, each time the same pattern. The train enters the station, she stands at the edge, she steps forward, and the train hits her. Every time. The police always say it's a different person, different victim, different incident, but I know what I'm seeing. It's the same woman, and every time it happens, she looks exactly the same. Not older, not different, exactly the same as the first night. After the 4th time, I started asking around, quietly. Other operators, transit workers, people who had been on the job longer than me.
At first, nobody wanted to talk about it, but eventually, one of the older drivers told me something strange. He said, "You ever hear about the platform woman?" I asked what he meant. He just shrugged. Some drivers say they see the same jumper more than once. I asked him if he believed it. He didn't answer right away. Then he said something that stuck with me. Some things down in those tunnels don't move on. After that conversation, I started noticing something else. Every time she appeared, it was on my train, not someone else's, mine. Different stations, different nights, but always my train. Months would pass with nothing happening. Then suddenly I'd round a curve into a station, and there she would be, standing at the edge, waiting. The 5th time I saw her, I almost didn't stop the train. Not because I didn't care, but because I already knew what was about to happen. I hit the brakes anyway, and just like every other time, she stepped forward. Another impact, another report, another victim with a different name. By the 6th time, I started paying closer attention because something about her behavior was changing. The first few times, she never looked at me. Her eyes were always forward, like she was focused on the tracks. But that night, when the train lights hit her face, she looked straight at the cab, straight at me, just for a second, before stepping forward. That look stayed with me for weeks. It felt deliberate, like she knew I was there. The 7th time was worse, because she didn't jump immediately. The train rolled into the station, she stood there, right at the edge, but instead of looking at the tracks, she was already staring directly at the cab, at me. I hit the brakes early. The train screeched as it slowed. Passengers on the platform were backing away, confused, but she didn't move. She just watched me. Then finally, right before the train stopped, she stepped forward. The 8th time I saw her, I almost quit my job, because by then I knew something for certain. She wasn't appearing randomly. She was getting closer, closer to the front of the train, closer to me, and every time she looked at me longer. The last time I saw her was 3 weeks ago. I was pulling into a station in Brooklyn. The platform was nearly empty, just a few people scattered around. Then I saw that pale coat again. But this time, she wasn't standing at the middle of the platform. She was standing directly in front of the train cab, right where the first car would stop. I felt this cold wave go through my chest because she was facing me, already looking straight into the cab. The train headlights lit up her face, and I saw that same calm expression she had the first night. But something was different. She wasn't leaning forward anymore. She wasn't preparing to jump. She was just standing there, watching me. I slowed the train. My hands were shaking on the controls. The platform got closer, closer. Passengers nearby started moving away from the edge, but she didn't move. She just kept staring at me. The train finally came to a stop, and she was still there, right in front of the cab. Alive, not on the tracks, not jumping, just standing there. For the first time, she didn't step forward. Instead, she slowly raised her head. Our eyes met through the front window, and then she smiled. It wasn't a big smile, just a small one, like someone who finally got what they wanted. Then she mouthed 4 words. I could see them clearly through the glass, slow, deliberate. "Next time, it's you." And then she stepped backward into the crowd, not onto the tracks, back onto the platform. People walked past her like she was just another commuter. The doors opened, passengers got on and off the train, but when I looked again, she was gone. I checked the cameras later that night, every camera on the platform, every angle. There was no woman in a pale coat, no one standing in front of the cab, no one mouthing anything, just passengers waiting for the train. I've checked the footage a dozen times since then, nothing. But here's the part that made me call tonight, because 3 nights ago, something new happened. I was driving through a tunnel between stations, no platforms, no people, just darkness and rails. And in the reflection of the front window, I saw someone standing behind me in the cab, A woman, dark hair, pale coat, and when I turned around, the cab was empty.
Like and subscribe. Don't miss the next story, the one that gets under your skin. Here at Night Signal Files, you don't find the signal. It finds you.